Jonesy and Amanda.
Jam Nation.
Well, Guy Montgomery might hail from New Zealand, but he's so successful it's only a matter of time before we claim him as our own. He's earned himself a legion of fans thanks to his appearances on Thank God You're Here, if you've been paying attention, and most recently as host of the wildly funny Guy Mont-Spelling Bee. Next year, he's going to be headlining the Sydney Comedy Festival.
Ooh.
Guy Montgomery, hello.
It's a big deal.
Hello, Jonesy. Hello, Amanda. How are you both?
We're great. That's a big deal. So your family's going to see you now. Your secret is no longer safe.
That's right.
Well, my family is still in New Zealand. They've got no idea what I'm doing over here.
I did like that you said you moved to Canada to start your career so that no one would have to see you suck.
Yeah, well, I sort of put off starting comedy because I thought I was funny, conversationally with friends and stuff. And then when I realized I wanted to try and do it publicly, it's very embarrassing. To become good at comedy, everyone has to live through being bad. And I didn't want, in front of the people who my main defining trait was that I was funny, I didn't want to expose myself as being unfunny. So I went and practiced for a year in privacy, relatively speaking, from New Zealand and Canada.
And what did Canada make of you?
Well, I think, to be honest, it was 2012 when I went there, and the sort of Flight of the Conchords was still, as a television show, was quite big, and Taika had just had out Boy, and so there was a real warmth towards hearing a New Zealand accent. I think, like when I would get up on stage, if they heard a New Zealand accent, I think the assumption of a lot of people who just generally like comedy was that whatever I was going to say could be funny.
Right.
So you get a little bit of a 5-second buffer at the start where they're sort of thinking, oh, this is different from hearing another Canadian accent. Then, of course, you still have to be funny. But it was perfect. I mean, I didn't know anyone, so I had no community or friends. So the people I became friends with were just all the people who are at the same open mics as me every night.
But there's truth in that. You look at Billy Connolly. I remember once he was doing this bit about the gay and lesbian Mardi Gras, and he says, there's these lesbians, and they drive bikes, and they're called dykes on bikes, and people are just laughing their heads off. And I'm thinking, he's just giving out information. Everyone knows that.
It's the accent. It's the accent that does it.
It can help, I mean, my dream has always been, in terms of a perfect joke, it's been to say a sentence with nothing funny in the sentence and still get people to laugh. I think that's a platonic ideal of comedy, because their brain is dancing with the idea of what you could say or what you could do with it.
Yeah. And are you at that level yet?
Occasionally. It's not really for me to reflect on where I am. It's all going pretty well, to be completely honest. I'm going well enough to be on the radio with you guys.
Yeah.
That is true.
This is progress.
Yeah, come on, Amanda. He's not on X Factor. You're not sitting there
Auditioning.
He's done his time.
Tell us about the spelling bee. This began over Zoom. How did it take off, and why spelling?
Well, so it was on Zoom. It was during lockdowns in 2020. I think I started doing it, and it was basically all my work got wiped out. It was just a means of mucking around with friends. And spelling was something I've always had a fondness for in language, and it was one of the few things I remember thinking I was good at school. And then when I was trying to create something for people to play and to watch, even when it was just for online, I think spelling's this incredible universal access point. Everybody spells, everyone has a relationship to it. It's kind of a false representation of intelligence. It actually doesn't matter if you're good at spelling or not. It has no bearing on how you go through your life. So it's perfect because it's got quantifiable stakes that mean nothing. And so I think everyone can get into it. And the other thing that I really liked about it is that it means that it can exist in a vacuum. A lot of great television is responsive to what's happening in the world, or, have you been paying attention, for example, is responsive to the news. But Spelling Bee, my dream, and why I made the set want to look kind of old, is that someone could find this in 10 years. And because it's non-responsive, because it's just all nonsense, it could still be as funny then as it was now. It's sort of timeless.
Yeah, I get that. Is there a word that, friends, for example, when I spell the word friend, I always muck it up.
Really?
Yeah, I always get the I and the E wrong.
He writes, hi, friend.
I get this it's like this glitch in my brain that it can't spell friend. And I thought I was pretty good at spelling, but friend, you put a gun at my head, I reckon I'd muck it up.
Yeah, I mean, there are words like, and I suppose even though it's so simple and you kind of know what you're meant to do, you still panic when you know you're coming up to friend. I think the equivalent word for me would be privilege, where I know it starts with a PRIV, and then it's always, even though I've tried to learn it, it's always a coin toss on whether it's an I or an E after that V. And I know how it finishes, I know how it starts, but I can never remember what the vowel in the middle is.
Interesting, and I can't remember whether it has a D in it or not. I get confused with that. And also, I do Wordle every day. The American spelling of fibre. I lost my winning streak the other day.
My Wordle thread was absolutely blowing up that day. It was unbelievable. You know, I'm in it with Tom Cashman, who's another comedian. He's on Taskmaster. He's the assistant, and he was absolutely apoplectic. And he'd been on a really hot run the week before, just talking trash. Anyone who would listen, he's the best in the world. All of a sudden, he forgets Wordle's American. He's saying it's not fair, it's not right. I'm saying, you've been playing it your whole life, mate. You've just got to adjust. You've got to know.
You've just got to know.
I'd like to see him spell apoplectic. That's a good one, and that's easy to spell. It's a great word, and it's easy to spell. Well, Guy...
Well, I think whenever I lose Wordle, I think it's because I know too many five-letter words, you know.
Of course.
The problem is I'm too bright for the game. Yeah.
Of course.
Amanda's that good at it. She does it during our radio show. In fact, she's doing it right now as we chat.
I had Cora.
Well, I got
the
4
How
today
bad's
for
that
what
as
it's
a
worth.
word?
Got 4.
Okay.
Cora, so that's also why Tom was upset. It was that Cora fibre double, you know, like in a week, it's 2 words which are either spelled incorrectly or absolute nonsense. Cora.
Yeah.
What is it called? It's like it's just ludicrous.
It's completely ludicrous.
Okay,
Thank you for sharing my pain.
Well, you two can chat about this to your heart's content, and I'll do other things. Guy, it's great to talk to you. For tickets and tour information, you can head to livenation.com.au. Guy Montgomery, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Catch up with you soon.